Gamers online absolutely love throwing around the word dead as a kind of synonym for, well, I don't like this thing anymore, I've concluded that it is bad, and you should not like it either. People to this day call retail World of Warcraft dead when, just wait and see for the Dragonflight launch, that'll show you how dead it really is. If you wanted a truly dead MMO, WildStar is over there. But when I use the word dead for classic era servers, I really mean it. Well, okay, when I say dead, more dead, deader, I suppose is appropriate. That's kind of giving you the idea that there were real signs of life beyond a hopeful forum post or a Reddit thread trying to rally some new troops and give them a sense of hope because the classic era servers just never really took off. Recently, there's been two truly condemning pieces of news from Blizzard regarding the state of classic era servers, both for classic World of Warcraft as well as the Burning Crusade, which more or less say this didn't work, people don't want this, so we're just not going to be doing it anymore. Let's give them both a quick read over. First, regarding TBC, this was announced shortly after Wrath of the Lich King was confirmed during that live stream. They say, we're not going to let people stay in Burning Crusade who want to this time. We really didn't have a lot of uptick in interest in that, and we're going to make sure that we continue to preserve the original classic version of the game. We know some people really did want that version, so that version is going to continue to exist. But as we continue, TBC will just transition into WotLK Classic, and there will not be another choice or clone service offered as we did with the original BC release. So TBC era is just straight up not happening in the first place. I guess it's not even dead on arrival, it's just non-existent. This second bit of news happened a few weeks later and is regarding Classic, and I bet you probably haven't even heard that this is happening. That's how little publicity era gets. On an official post, Blizzard say the World of Warcraft BC Classic character clone service will soon be cycled out of the Battle.net shop. This service will be on sale until its retirement on July 26, 2022. After that date, any locked clones will be removed from their respective realms and will no longer be available. If you haven't made a choice for any of your characters since the last time you logged into either WoW Classic or BC Classic, those characters will be moved to Burning Crusade Classic. The Classic era version of those characters will be permanently deleted and unavailable for cloning. So what this means is after 26th of July 2022, there can never be any population growth aside from brand new characters for classic era servers. Any untouched characters move to TBC and eventually Wrath, and unused clones are permanently deleted. So when I say era realms are dead, this is kind of what I mean. Can I just say here, if you're one of these guys who are in the camp of give me Wrath of the Lich King, I will happily play that for years, which I do see in the comments, it's not looking too good for you right about now. It's also worth a mention on top of this that there is currently no plans to do a TBC seasonal server either, unless, as Blizzard have said, there is a clear community demand for it, which I'm going to be real, I read the forums, I look at Reddit, I have a lot of comments on my own videos, and I'm not seeing any level of demand for it whatsoever. I would be amazed if they did a TBC seasonal server. And Classic seasonal server has recently entered phase 5, which is AQ40. The war effort is underway, though from what I hear, the autocomplete, which they obviously need, let's be real, nobody's going to go and farm 80,000 copper ore or whatever you need on a seasonal server, but the autocomplete isn't working properly, though they should be into AQ40 relatively soon and seeing all of the changes in there. But overall, there is a small player base for classic seasonal servers, and that's the place where Blizzard will start to put changes into the game, much to the annoyance of the classic purists, since this is the only official fresh server Blizzard looks as though they're going to be doing. Also, I'll just throw this out there, I don't think Blizzard will ever do a no changes server. I reckon there will be more seasonal servers, however, and they will have more drastic levels of changes to them. So, all roads lead to Wrath of the Lich King then. It certainly seems that way where we are at the moment, and despite it being the most popular World of Warcraft expansion ever, I won't be surprised if there's a very similar sentiment when we're closing in on Kata, which again I think will happen as an expansion. So what went wrong with era servers then? Why have these failed to garner a player base from all those people who prefer classic WoW over every other version of the game? And why are Blizzard effectively throwing this whole idea in the bin as a failed project? Well, to me, every single possible argument, thought and rationalization between who's at fault here can be boiled down to one key thing which era servers don't do and never will do. Progression. MMOs need progression. Era servers don't have progression, so they don't work. That's basically it. No new players, no growing economy, no new raid content, no battlegrounds, no class rebalancing. All the servers do is offer an environment where 25 or 30 biscued warriors can blast through next 40 once a week. But saying this, error servers had a problem from the start. The first issue was the price tag on cloning your character. Oh, and this cloning I keep talking about is a paid service. Yes, this costs money, where you can duplicate your character so they're both available to play on the error servers as well as the live service as well. At first, Blizzard tried to offer this service for a rather staggering $35. Predictable community backlash ensued and it was lowered to $15. Again, this is for an automated service, but what can I say? That's the norm for Blizzard. I believe this was done in part to try and filter out those who really wanted to play Error, otherwise everybody would have cloned a character because, well, why not? Error Realms also began their life as just single servers as they had been throughout the duration of Classic, and after a good while of it becoming rather apparent that next to nobody was playing there, Blizzard took the very rare step of connecting realms. This is what they do instead of merging. By the way, Blizzard have pretty much never merged a server ever, in case you're wondering about that. This is where players from several different realms will share a server and just have their server name appear after their own. They've done this on retail a lot over the years. And even if this was done from day one, I don't think it would have made any real difference. In fact, there could have been one realm per region and there wouldn't be a lot of change. It wasn't a question of it being Blizzard's fault here or them doing it too late, it's just, well, there's no progression on the servers. People by the end of Classic had started to see the holes in the perfect memory of the fabric, the world buff griefing. Your class was just so weak. The time needed to farm gold. People were ready for TBC to begin to fix the game or to make their class viable at last. A mix of all this has meant the population for Error just never got off the ground and picked up its own player base. It's a harsh reality check of what players really do want that less than 3 years after release, Classic is already moving back to its place in the memories of those who were there on the 26th of August 2019. As for TBC Error, well, they aren't even doing it in the first place, nor are they doing a seasonal server at this point in time either. And I'll be doing a full review for TBC later on now that I've experienced everything the expansion has to offer, but the overall hype level for it just didn't match up to Classic. It wasn't even close. And I think you can hardly blame Blizzard for not wanting to do TBC Error either. I'm 100% sure it would be a similarly eerie, empty world with a handful of guilds clearing Sunwell in their abyss. It's funny actually, in the 2 quotes we started off the video with, they said first of all, we're gonna make sure that we continue to preserve the original Classic version of the game, and then a few weeks later, oh by the way, you can't clone characters anymore. I get this feeling people are gonna start to be nostalgic for the Classic launch at this point already. A fresh just doesn't miss. Even the release of Season of Mastery was huge when it first came out, but there's just no longevity to these types of servers by the looks of things. People come in, they play for a few weeks, they start hitting the endgame content, and then they get the feeling of, yeah, I've done this before actually, and they stop playing. And that feeling as though people are quitting, your realm size is shrinking, and the game isn't popular really affects the MMO genre, especially Classic WoW, because it is by no means a single player game. So much of the content needs a group of players for you to be able to enjoy it on a regular basis. So when things start to go south, the player base just evaporates in no time at all. We will see what the plans for any additional servers at the end of Season of Mastery will be, but I really believe they have to go all out and aim to provide an experience for the players which will not be familiar. On top of that, they need to rebalance content and classes during each major content patch for it to see any real measure of success. Or I suppose there is the mandatory and copium-fueled Classic Plus, which I should give a mention to. The idea that Blizzard will develop entirely brand new content for Classic, which by the way would have to start from the beginning of the game, not after Naxxramas. Nobody's going to play copy-paste content for 12 months for the promise of something new at the end of it. The entire journey has to be altered, which I mean, well, it sounds like a lot of work, doesn't it? I don't know what level of spaghetti code Blizzard have to deal with trying to get things working on Classic, but older games are usually built on tech which, well, if you were given the choice, you wouldn't use it these days. Let's put it like that. I'd love to see it, don't get me wrong, but it would be a surprise, not an expectation. And that's with the deal for Microsoft takeover going fairly smoothly as well, though I'm not quite sure to what extent Microsoft are going to be paying attention to Classic WoW. That is the news though. RIP error servers for both Classic and TBC, but kind of for real though. It's funny, I've never played there, I never would play there, but I'm still kind of sad to see it go. Let me know your thoughts, guys. As always, thank you all so much for watching and listening in. I shall see you all in the next one very soon.